Today I have a very fun and bright card that could be used as a Valentine since it says love you more than cake. But it's also a very cute encouragement card, just a friendship card, pretty much anything. Great for kids, also great for adults because I love cute little elephants like this. So I hope you guys are interested in seeing how to make this. So stay tuned and I'll show you how. Today I'm working with this really cute stamp set. It's called Love You More. So you got Love You More Than, and then there's bacon, chocolate, and cake, and little images of those things here as well as little hearts. A really cute set. Then we also have the black glitter jewel border dazzles. A sheet 8.5 by 11 inches of this shine design paper. And this is the bubbles / circles shine design. It's a really glossy specialty paper. It's kind of fun to work with. Then I have this Hopscotch paper Tole. It's super cute with these little balloons and the elephant. And then there's a banner here. And there's also this word bubble. So really fun. And then we have the Hopscotch paper pack. And it's double-sided. You can see the colors are very bright and fun. Here's that front page and some examples of projects here on the back. And there are all of the papers right there. And last but not least, the Hopscotch ribbon set. And it has all these different ribbons in it. There's a dozen different ribbons in here, each 3 feet long. Alright, so with that, let's get started. I'm going to start out by punching out my paper Tole pieces. So this is the Hopscotch set, and I'm going to start with the word bubble here. And what I like to do with paper Tole, and this might seem excessive to most people, but I like to take my X-Acto knife, and there are some little nibs that connect the paper Tole to the actual paper, and I like to just cut through those nibs before I punch it out. So you kind of have to look closely, but I'm just running my knife through these little nibs, if you can see that. And if you don't do this, it's barely even noticeable. It's just a little thing that I do because I like to. But you can also get rid of the nibs by cutting them after you punch it out. Oops, I missed one. With small scissors or with your fingernail. There we go. So hopefully that has a clean edge now. That one you can see a little bit of white because it kind of came off rough, but there we go. So anyway, you kind of have to have a magnifying glass if you want to find all the little nibs because they're so tiny. But you can also turn it over on the back and you can kind of see it better. You can see those little connectors, and you can also cut it from the back. So that's just one option. And so I'm going to go ahead and take out all my paper Tole pieces that I need for my card. Oh, P.S. I also use this cutting through technique for the hot off the press die cuts. And there is a Hopscotch set. Anyway, the die cuts have bigger nibs, so it's a little more important, I guess, on that. But these have this is a thinner material, so the nibs are tiny. So they're much invisible. But anyway, I like to use my X-Acto knife, so that's what I'm doing. There we go. So I've punched out all the pieces for the elephant and for this word bubble because they're both going to go on my card. Set those aside for now. And I've cut up a bunch of 1/2 inch wide strips of paper, and the length just has to be longer than 5 inches. Doesn't really matter. So I cut 4 of the shine design because that's pretty fun, and then 2 each of these other 5 patterns, and some of them are the same paper just turned over. So what I want to do is create a custom striped background for my card. So since I've cut these all straight with a ruler, I can just go ahead and start gluing them down on my card, kind of like this. I can overlap some if I want some to be skinnier looking. I can have some white showing. So there's really a lot of, I can even go crooked. So it's another fun look, or playful look. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish this striped border. You can kind of tell where I'm going here. So finish the striped background and I will be right back. So I pretty much have a pattern figured out. It's not exactly repeating. It's a little bit random. So I'm gonna go ahead and start gluing my strips down, and I like to use this photo glue stick. It's acid free and it's special, you know, for photos. It's if you use it on photos. I actually mostly use it on other things because I don't scrapbook as much as I do cards. So, but it's pretty much good for all paper. And just put some glue stick on there and glue it right across the top. Then take the next strip, same deal. Super simple. I don't have to glue the whole strip because it's longer than the card. So this one's just gonna butt up against the first strip, just like that. And you just keep going down the whole card until all your strips are glued down. Then you will cut off the excess. So here's the fun part. After I've glued all of these onto the front of my card, just turn my card over and take my scissors and carefully go along the edge and cut off all the excess. Kind of fun. And the other side too. This is going along the fold, so you want to make sure not to actually cut the fold, just the paper. And another way to do this is put this on your cutting mat with a ruler and take your X-Acto knife along the edge. So, but scissors work just as well, except when you miss one. There we go. And there is my fun striped background. Next, I'm going to add some of the black jewel border dazzles around the edges of my card just to create a nice frame for my card. So I'm going to use these scalloped borders right here, and let's see. Here's another sheet that I've partially used. Anyway, you just peel off carefully the border and just start on a long end. Just place this in the corner, trying to make it line up perfectly with the edge. Now it's a little tricky. And you just keep going along and pressing it down along that edge. And the dazzles really make the card stand out because 1, it frames it, and 2, the dazzles are actually black glitter and they catch the light, and so does the silver edge of the dazzles as well. So again, just turn over and snip the excess. And I don't throw this part away. I actually continue on to the other edge of my card because this is a border dazzle that can be continued with even just pieces of it. For example, I have this used sheet and I have a partial length of this particular border, And I'm just going to keep on going. Just try to match up the scallops here, and this one works fine. Don't have to be too perfect. And there we go. And see how it hangs off the edge, and you just take your scissors and snip. And I'm gonna go, since this is a partial piece, I'm gonna go to the short edge, the other short edge. Continue here. Alright, I'll finish this border and I'll be right back. Alright, so here is my finished background, and you can see how nice and shiny that border is. So setting that aside, I put the Love You More Than stamp on this acrylic block, and this is going to go on my word bubble. Now when I place this over the word bubble, it's just a little bit longer than I would like. The word than kind of goes off. So what I want to do is mask that word and stamp Love You More, and then I'm going to stamp than separately, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So first of all, if you have a brand new stamp, what I like to do is put it on a stamp block and take an eraser. Now I think you can use other erasers. I like to use this kneaded gray kneaded eraser. It's actually, you can see I'm kneading it. Bend it to whatever. And I just discovered this like a week ago, so don't feel bad if you don't know about this. But when these stamps are brand new, they have sort of a slick surface to them, so the ink tends to bead up on the first couple uses. To avoid that, I just rub this eraser across the surface of it. And you can also use a fine sandpaper, and that also works too. So anyway, I'm going to take my jet black StazOn, take off the protective covering, and just taking a piece of scratch paper, ink up the stamp and stamp. Okay. I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to carefully cut out the word than without touching anything else. Okay, and I'm going to keep these pieces. Alright, now I'm going to take my word bubble and, just to be safe, put it over this scrap paper, and I'm going to line up the than where it's going to stamp. So it's going to act as a mask for the stamp. So I'm inking up my stamp, and the StazOn works well. There's also another brand called Surfaces, and that's also a multi-surface ink. And because the paper Tole paper is a little bit on the slick side, always safer to use that permanent ink. So I'm gonna try and see how I can angle this to fit on my stamp the way I want it to. Okay, now the paper is gonna probably come up. There we go, see, came up with the stamp and it masked it successfully. So now I'm going to use the other mask piece to stamp the word than, and it works the same way. So wherever I want the than to land, and remember I've got a fit cake on there too, so you gotta just plan ahead a little bit. So the than probably around there. Love you more than. Alright, lined up and stamping. Okay. So I did over ink my stamp a little bit. That's what happens. But that's okay with me. I'm just gonna move on. So I usually like to clean my stamps right away. I'm gonna set that aside for a second. And if you're using StazOn, you'll want StazOn cleaner or surfaces cleaner, something like that. So I've got my brand new cake stamp on there. Just rubbed it with a little bit of the eraser to get the slick surface a little less slick, and just inking that up. There we go. And I'm gonna see if we can actually fit a cake on there. Not the tiered cake, but the little cupcake will work. This could be a cupcake, or it could be a little truffle in a little wrapper, so either one. Chocolate cake, it all works. There we go. And just for fun, gonna add some hearts. Oops. Gotta be careful with these super tiny stamps. They can get lost quite easily. And don't press too hard on them either. There we go. Alright, so I'm done stamping that piece. Carefully take off the tape, and the StazOn dries pretty quickly. So now I can go ahead and put together my paper Tole with the foam tape in the layers. And it is less than perfect stamping job, but I did have to mask those two things, so I'm just going to call it good. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and assemble both of my paper Tole images. If you're not familiar with paper Tole, this is basically how it works. So I have the base layer, and on the paper Tole sheet they are numbered, so 1 through whatever many layers there are. And then I have basically from largest to smallest, here are the layers. So this one is a repeat image, and you just line it up with the base image. And I have, sorry, I forgot to tell you, I have double-sided foam tape on the back of these. So that's what creates that wonderful dimension in your project at the end. Now you can do this after you glue the base layer to your card, or you can do it before, like I'm doing now. So it's really up to you how when that happens in the creative process. So that's another layer, and then oh, there's that butterfly stuck to my finger. See? And there we go. So you can see the dimension that creates. It's got 4 layers to it, including the bottom. And the bottom you can even use foam tape to put it on your card. So that's another option. Now the elephant, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have foam taped both of these paper Tole pieces to my card, and look how cool that is. And now I'd like to use some of my Hopscotch ribbon, and I'm going to use this cute baker's twine. It goes pretty much with everything. Christmas, birthday, Valentine's. Anyway, just tie it in a little bow. And you can always adjust the bow as needed. And the bow is going to go right where the balloons are. One little trick I use to keep the ends from fraying, and I usually do this before I cut it, but just put a little dab of tacky glue on the ends and roll it into the fibers. That'll keep your ends from fraying. Unless, of course, you want that frayed look, which is a different story. But anyway, going to just use tacky glue. You could use dots as well. Those glue dots, which are a dry adhesive. But since this is so small, it's more likely to fall off, in my opinion, unless you use a liquid glue that dries solid. So, hopefully not covering too much of my cute elephant. And speaking of the elephant, I think he needs also a little bow. So, let's find a little bow for him. Red sounds good. I tie my bows two ways. I either do the 2 loops and then tie in a knot, or do the 1 loop. It just depends on my mood, I guess. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. Okay, so I finished with my card. I think it turned out pretty cute. I hope you do too. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And if you liked this card and you'd like to make this card, please stay tuned for this week's bundle, and it offers you some savings on the supplies used to make this project. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again next week. There are quite a few items in this bundle, but we'll start out with the Hopscotch double-sided paper pack, which has 12 sheets of double-sided papers. And on the packaging, of course, since it's hot off the press, you're getting a scrapbook page idea, card idea, double page spread, and card front and inside. And here are images of each of the papers in the set, as well as coordinating products. So to take a closer look at each of the designs, here is the circles and bubbles border sheet, and it has a really nice warm green with a tiny dot in the background. On the back of that is more of a sage kind of green with a little dot, tiny pin dots, really cute. This is an all-over circle pattern with various colors. It's a very cute and fun and whimsical set. On the back is an orange grid, and we have a white and yellow plaid on the diagonal, which is nice. And then on the back of that we have this blue doodle pattern. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's tiny little doodles that say hello, smile, BFF, little butterflies and trees, and just fun, cute little things on there. Then we have this all over tiny dot pattern. It's almost like a miniature of that circle sheet. On the back of that is the red with a white dot. And red with white dot actually is good for many occasions, like Valentine's and other things too. Then we have an all-over stripe, and it's got a nice bright look to it. It's got a white background with lots of different little designs going down on the stripe, and of course you can turn the stripe any which way you want. On the back is a red version of that doodle pattern that I showed you a second ago, and it's super cute. Then we have a diagonal plaid of that warm spring green, and it's got a white dot in the background, and this plaid is the same kind of design as the white and the yellow one. And on the back is a very pale blue, baby blue, with a tiny dot. Very delicate. And those are the 6 designs in the Hopscotch paper pack. And next we have the ribbon set. So we have 12 different ribbons in here. Each of them measures 3 feet long, and you can see there's some sparkly ribbon, sheer ribbon, silky, crepe, polka dot, and some baker's twine. some narrow grosgrain, some 1/2 inch grosgrain. We've got the gingham ribbon and some grosgrain with stitching. Man, did I miss any? There's so many options. Oh, and this grid ribbon, which is cool because it kind of coils up on its own. It's really cute. And then also some velvety white ribbon. This is actually fuzzy to touch. It's really fun. And then moving on, we have a sheet of this shine design paper, which is called Bubbles / Circles. And it's a really kind of a, I don't know if you can see compared to the ribbons. They go together quite nicely. It's a bluish, kind of a pool blue, I would call it. And the design on it actually is very glossy, so it's a nice effect on your projects. Then we have this little stamp set. It says love you more than, and then you can choose bacon, cake, chocolate, all three. And there's the bacon, there's the cupcake or chocolate cupcake, and then there's a cake. And then little hearts too. So there's tons of ways you can use this stamp set. A sheet of the jewel border dazzles in black, and this is actually black glitter, so really sparkly. Not sure if you can see that very well, but they're lined, outlined in silver. So those are really neat. And finally, the Hopscotch 3D paper Tole sheet, and it has 3 different images: the talk bubble, the happy birthday to you, and then this really super cute elephant with the balloons. And I just love that elephant. It's so cute. And that would be so cute for like a baby shower, a little child's birthday, or you know, even adults like that stuff. So anyway, those are all of the items in this week's bundle, and great savings on this one, so I hope you guys take advantage, and thank you so much for watching.